Welcome back to another edition of the NoStoppingKev podcast, where we talk about all things basketball and a little bit of life stuff. But back in the studio today with my pops. Dad, how you doing?
I'm doing good today.
That's great, man. I'm glad to hear it because I'm feeling good. You know why?
Why is that?
Because we got that merch drop, baby. So make sure y'all go over to the NoStoppingKev website, which is NoStoppingKev.com/shop if you want to, expedite your process and go over there and check out the Limitless collection. You feel me?
I feel you.
You feel me? Make sure you go to the Instagram page at the NoStoppingKev show so you can see the details on the Limitless collection. Dad, you know what made me think of the Limitless collection?
What made you think of that?
I was sitting down with my team and I was like, yo, what describes NoStoppingKev? And because there's no stopping me, Dad, what does that mean?
No stopping you.
Right. I'm without limits. I'm without limits, man. We do it all over here at the NoStoppingKev community. We don't get stopped. I'm like all these dudes on this wall back here. We don't get stopped. Look, joke coming. Ain't coming joke. Go ahead, make a joke.
No, I ain't gonna make no joke.
You gonna make a joke? I just knew what was coming.
Oh, well, I guess you can say all of them is non-stoppable.
All right, cool. Yeah, so make sure y'all check out the Limitless collection at the NoStoppingKev website at NoStoppingKev.com/shop. But I want to get into the episode today, and before I forget, just a reminder: we drop dope podcast episodes every Thursday, right? Anywhere you listen to podcasts. But what else should the people do, Dad?
Subscribe.
They should subscribe. I'm glad you said that. Make sure you subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. And also make sure you follow us on IG, because IG page been popping. We on the up. We coming up on IG. Followers growing, the community's growing. It's great. So I appreciate everybody that be following us. But Dad, I'm on the, my season starts. I'm back on the sidelines a little bit. My stress level's been a little high some days. My energy level been on E. But, we're going to see what the team can do this year. More to come on that in future weeks. But Dad, I had a quick question for you. I was thinking of something. Just thinking about our last episode.
What's that?
If Magic Johnson never played basketball, right? He never existed. Who would be your pick for the best point guard ever?
You know what? That would have me smiling. There's no question, a no-brainer, who would be my best guard.
Who?
Isaiah Zeke Thomas.
Okay, all right. That's a good pick. He was on my list.
He should have been at the top of your list.
Yeah. I didn't say an order. But look, go ahead.
No, because you know what? Like, I was looking at some of the other guards you had. Now, I would have to give Big O something. But Big O was good. But the Zeke, I would have to say Zeke was the best for me.
Now, Big O won with Kareem, right? He never
won
without.
at Milwaukee. Yeah, he won one in Milwaukee.
See, who do you think was better? The Big O or Westbrook?
The Big O or Westbrook?
Yeah.
See, that's like kind of a tough question, because Big O, I go with people back in the time like that.
That's called being biased.
No, but Big O was the inventor of triple doubles. Now, and then I'm gonna say, we talking about Big O triple doubles. They was legitimate assists that he used to get, legitimate. And what I mean by that, because the way you looking at me, it's like assists was different. You couldn't take 2-3 dribbles and still get assists.
Sure.
So that made assists more. That's why I say what I say about assists.
All right, but that being said, though, Westbrook has how many more triple doubles and average a triple double? How many more times than the Big O? And even though the assists are a little different, a lot of times, right, when you think about a guy like Russell Westbrook that's penetrating and either dropping it off to a big who's going right into a dunk, or passing it out to a shooter who's catching and shooting, those are your traditional assists. So the numbers aren't that different. Maybe 2 are, when you got the bounce, cross, pull up. But for the most part, they're pretty comparable. So when people, I think the Big O has his place in basketball because he's one of the first people to do the triple-double thing. But Russ did it like 3 times better.
But another thing I got to say, the Big O was a better floor general at that too.
All right.
He ran the team. He quarterback. Like, I'm not going to say Westbrook really quarterback any team. I'm not going to say he a quarterback. Just like, what I would say, like, even with Zeke, at times, he could do really both. And I know he'd do a better job at running a team than Russell.
I think that what that speaks to, and I'll tell you kind of which way I was leaning on this discussion, because, I got to answer the question as well. But I think you're speaking to the evolution of the point guard position and that role in the NBA. Historically, you were more of a floor general, but in the modern era of basketball, your point guards now are bucket getters. You got to have a point guard today that can score. Like, I can't think of many dominant teams that don't have a guy at the one who's a bucket, right? Like, you look at a team like Milwaukee, they have Drew Holiday, but they have Giannis. Like, there's very few teams whose main player isn't a dominant PG. I guess you got like the Clippers, but pretty much you pick a team, they got a point guard that can get a bucket, right? That's not your traditional floor general point guard. It's actually probably easier to name your old school floor generals in the NBA today than it is, the numerous guys that can just straight up get a bucket. Like, you look at your, like a Chris Paul is probably the closest thing we have today to, like a Big O or a Isaiah Thomas, a guy that can still score, but also, orchestrate and facilitate and be a quarterback on the floor, like you said.
See, even when you talk about Chris Paul as that, now I still can't put him in there with the Zeke. I can't put him in there.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm not saying. I'm just saying, based on how the role of the point guard is today, Chris Paul's the closest to that style of play than compared to the Russell Westbrook, John Morant, Damian Lillard, those guys that are they're going off for 30 each night. So when I was looking at this list, I was and I was thinking about who would I say is the next best point guard, because I'm still sticking to my piece on Magic. Maybe if he hadn't been in LA in that market, surrounded by great talent, maybe he's not regarded as the best point guard ever, despite having the highest average assist in the season. But the 2 guys that I thought about was your guy Isaiah Thomas, right? And then I also thought about Steph Curry. But let me talk about Isaiah Thomas real quick. I almost think he should get, like, why don't you think Isaiah Thomas was better than Magic? Because I almost think it's more impressive for Zeke to do what he did with less talent around him, less high profile guys around him, and also he's a lot smaller. Like, it's almost like, imagine if Isaiah Thomas was 6'10", just like I would say, like, imagine if Iverson was 6'6".
See, you can imagine them being that, but will they still have that gift that they had at that size?
I'm saying, so you got to assume everything else equal. We change your one variable here, height. So imagine if Magic was 6 foot, would he still have been a great point guard?
I can't say that he would. Only thing I could say in reality of what he was and what he did do. See, like, one thing, the reason, like I say, Isaiah, I loved Isaiah because that reminded me of a way, a point guard that I was. But I'm not going to say, like, he a traditional point guard of that era like that. But Isaiah, what takes him out of that? See, Magic did whatever he had to do to win. I'm going to say Zeke did this. But one other thing I want to go, when you say Magic won at every level.
Yeah, but we talking about in context of the NBA.
I'm just saying. But what I'm just saying is, like, you know what? He didn't have all great players around him like you say that he had in LA, but he still won. He won high school, he won college, and they went against good teams. And he didn't really have the power in college to really win it, but it was magic in the show that with him making players better. You know, Isaiah made players better. Now, sometimes you can have a team that makes you better. Now, you know, like I go with Allen Iverson that made it to a championship, and he would have won it if they didn't run in the second best duel. We'd say the second best duel. They probably would have won it.
Yeah, and then I'll you bring up some valid points. I'll say that, but the last thing I'll say, and then we can move on to our next thing is the other guy that I thought on this list, again speaking to the evolution of the point guard position, is Steph Curry. You know, I think about like it's almost. I love Steph, but, you know, I'm a huge Westbrook guy. And in high school, I probably was a Westbrook and KD guy. But Steph has always kind of been one of my guys, too. But when I just think about, you know, the way the game is played today, he does so many things that get overlooked just because of his impeccable shooting ability that, like, you never think about how he moves without the ball. And, again, it's like, you'll probably shoot him down as being a good point guard because he's not necessarily a floor general in the offense that he plays in. But if you look at the things he does, you know, he's changed the NBA. So that's why I was like, yo, Steph might have to be on that greatest point guard of all time list. But
okay, but what I'm saying is, like, when you talk about Steph never showed that he could run an offense. Because,
that's not true.
No, let me say this. Golden State has their system.
Go back to the Mark Jackson days.
Mark Jackson?
Yeah, when Mark Jackson was coaching there.
But you know, what I'm saying is Mark Jackson, he ran the offense?
Yeah, Steph came up as a point guard. It wasn't until kind of, you know, Steve Kerr is from that philosophy of, you know, the certain number of passes in the right amount of time, that whole kind of thing with ball movement.
Okay.
So Steph is a point guard.
Okay, where, like, when I wish we would have talked about that earlier, and I could have went and dug some stats out or seen something. But you know, his Mark Jackson years, he was hurt, his ankles a couple of times.
When he played.
But I'm just saying, when he played, he wasn't really what would Golden State.
He had to grow.
But see, he grew. Whose system did he grow in?
Both.
Whose system did he really grow in?
Both. So Mark Jackson laid the framework. But we got to move on. We got to move on. We got to move on.
Yeah, because that takes some time, and we can go at it with that too.
All right, we can. But you know, the other big thing that happened recently that was kind of underwhelming, but I had to get your thoughts on it a little bit, was Ben Simmons and his return to Philadelphia. What did you think of that game the other week when the Sixers actually knocked off Ben, KD, Kyrie? Despite not having some of their big guns on their side.
Well, actually, we didn't have any of our big guns.
Yeah,
but you know what? The hype and maybe Ben Simmons helped them other players because like how him and Nang got into it, and I think they gave Nang a cheap shot foul, a flagrant foul. I think that was a very cheap shot, and and like that kind of just got to me because how they did that, and like, you know what, Ben, we gonna say had a pretty good game. What he had, 11 points, 7 rebounds, and 11 assists. Here we go again. So is that really a good game playing?
Not for a guy on a $200 million contract.
No, I don't think so.
But I think you raised a good point. I didn't think about that. The hype of Ben Simmons coming made the other guys step their game up while not having Harden or Embiid in the lineup. And Maxey was out that game too, right?
Right.
Yeah,
right.
So, you know, it really just was Tobias and the crew. And they got the job done. It was a great game to watch. I was kind of surprised that the Sixers didn't get smoked that night. But, you know, I kind of wanted to go to that game, but I didn't. You know, I opted to not pull the trigger on tickets once all the big names were out because, you know, the energy in the building is kind of deflated, you know, just because it's not like the game didn't mean as much. It wasn't like us versus them. You know, Ben didn't really have to come out and prove himself because he wasn't playing against anybody. So, you know, it was.
But
I'm looking forward to the next matchup when
But
hopefully everyone's healthy.
I think the energy was in the building.
Yeah, but it wasn't
See,
as much though.
I can't agree with that because where the energy in the building was because people came to haggle Ben Simmons.
Yeah, but it wasn't. I feel like a lot of people didn't go. Like it wasn't a sellout crowd.
Because you didn't have all the players.
So I'm
that
saying,
you
saying on that next matchup where let's say everyone's healthy and it's a sellout crowd. Oh, I might we might have to all go to that game. I had to be in the building, get some decent seats so we can heckle Ben Simmons because that's what I wanted to go do.
Yeah, I know you.
Yeah, you know I like to have some fun. But the other thing that popped out to me this week because that I'm a huge WNBA guy, right?
Right.
Dang, I gotta still get my AJ Wilson jersey up in here. I haven't finished decorating the studio yet. I'm slacking. But at the same time, I'm limitless on what I can do. Right, but so recently Kelsey Plum of the Las Vegas Aces, who at one moment in this past season was in the running for MVP until, her teammate kind of took it over. But Kelsey Plum was on another podcast. I think it's called the Residency Podcast recently. And she was speaking about a lot of things. But one of the things she talked about that really went viral had to do with the WNBA and players' compensation. And there's a lot of layers to why the WNBA probably doesn't produce as much money as it should, because it's a great quality product. But she brought up something that I hadn't quite thought about before. Maybe I haven't thought about recently, at least. But it had to do with revenue share that players get. So in the NBA, apparently players, based on how much money the owners and, teams make, players get a percentage. In the WNBA, that is not the case. So that's something they have to fight for in their next CBA agreement. But what stood out to me is she said when you go buy her jersey, right, she doesn't get a dime. You want to know something crazy? When I was out in Vegas for my bachelor party, we went to an Aces game. All the Kelsey Plum jerseys were sold out. This is like before the first quarter was over. So when people go into the stadium, the team shop is right there. So you got to walk, like you swipe your tickets.
Right.
The stand is right there. No Kelsey Plum jerseys. Somehow I got a large AJ Wilson jersey. But like a lot of the jerseys are sold out before the game even starts. But the players don't get a dime. That goes to the team. So, it makes me think about in college sports now, right? You got NIL. So if you buy a college player's jersey today, they get their cut. But the best women on the planet don't get a dime. Someone hit me with the the whole the WNBA isn't profitable. The NBA loses out on the WNBA every year, right? And I went digging to try to find recent financials on the leagues. Didn't find anything yet, but I'm gonna keep looking because the old, it's easy to say because historically, the narrative is the WNBA is in the negatives every year, right? And I'm not sure if that's still the case. It could be. The NBA does subsidize a bit, right? But I was putting it this way, like for dude in my comments that was like, oh, the WNBA doesn't make any money and the NBA loses out. If, let's say, the NBA provides a subsidy to bridge the gap, right? Let's just say get everybody to break even. Let's just assume that's how it works. So let's say the gap is $10 million. And let's say part of that money that was coming in anyway, you just give a greater share of it to the players, but they still got to contribute a certain amount to get you to that point, like whatever that number is, then so be it. It's like it's not a matter of, who's making what. It's just like the players should get their share, and at least they should be getting, if you selling my jersey, I should get something because I'm the one that make the jersey popular, right? Like, so I just feel like, a lot of things have to change when it comes to the WNBA, but now this is something that I'm going to be looking into more and more because, it's a great product, right, Dad?
I was listening to her too, and she said some some good things. And I'm right with you too. I think that, you know what, if they selling them players jersey, then they should get something. You know, and I think like, you know, they should get some kind of percentage of them selling their jerseys. You know, and I would listen to her today, and I think that she made a point. Like she was saying, I don't want people to support us. I want you to come watch us. She said because she coming to play hard. Like she's saying she want to knock that. And I mean, like, I love watching girls play, and I love seeing them. It ain't like, I mean, like, you could say support, but like I like when she said she wants y'all to just come watch the games.
Yeah.
And come see her play.
I'm glad you said that because that was my next point too. He was talking about how when people go to a Nets game, right? Like you're not saying I'm gonna go support Kevin Durant. You're going to watch him ball. You're gonna watch him get somebody 30. She does the same thing. She goes out there and she gives people 30, right? So she's like, I don't want you to come and say like you're buying like it's charity. Like I'm gonna support your fundraiser, right? It's like no, the WNBA needs more fans, right? And that's something that their commissioner's been working at. I think last year. I think 2021 they raised like 75 million from like an investment group that had a lot of wealthy people, consisted of, you know, I won't go into all the names, but you can look up the article. Maybe I'll share it. But you know, they're trying to strategize ways to improve the league because the WNBA audience skews young and female. But I think that if a lot of guys watch the WNBA, they'll realize like it's really fun. Like Kelsey Plum on that same podcast episode was talking about how you know, she tells people like just come to one game, right? And then people show up and they're actually like super excited to be there. Like when we went to Vegas and I made the guys go to a WNBA game, most of them were just like, they weren't really trying to do it, right? Shaquan, who was organizing it, he thought it was a baseball team. But I'll tell you what, we got to the game, they were going nuts. We were going nuts in the suite. Like we were into it. And you know, you know how in Philly, if you miss 2 free throws, like you used to get a Frosty, now you get Chick-fil-A. There you get a slice of pizza if the opposing team misses 2 free throws in the second half. When I tell you they were going nuts in the suite, we never even went to go claim our pizza. But it's just a great time. So I think if more people just, you know, watch it, then they'll realize like it's not that much different. And I hate when I read articles and opinions from people and they're like, lower the rim to 9 feet so that, you know, you can have an increase in dunks. It's like, how many exciting dunks do you really see in the NBA game? Like, the vast majority of them are just like you might see an alley-oop here and there. You know, somebody might do something crazy on the fast break. But every game, you're not getting that social media dunk anyway. So I think lowering the rim it does the reverse. It makes the game, like, less viable. And like, you know, people look at the NBA or just men's basketball in general as being here, women's basketball being here. I think if you lower the rim, you just widen the gap because it's like, they play on a small court. So you're not watching it to appreciate the game and appreciate the craft that they put in. You know, and Kelsey Plum also said how, you know, skill wise, she can compete. Right, if you match them up one-on-one in a game scenario, of course, because of a strength and athleticism, she's like, I probably can't beat anybody in the NBA just off of that alone. But when you talk about the skill level, it's comparable. So if you blend it 5v5 setting, like, the best women in the world, they'll be able to compete on a court with other men. So, I go on for forever.
I think some women can compete with men on the basketball court. Now, if you're talking about women pros against men pros, I think athletic ability, men may have them beaten by maybe faster runners, stronger. Higher jumpers. Yeah, well, strong. Point blank is stronger.
And I'm only saying that because that's what Kelsey said.
Well, but what I'm saying is, you know what? You may have some women that can do it, but, you know, when you got the NBA, all them doing it. Yeah. And all them, that's why they made it there. Every women ain't. But you know what? Women basketball is way better than basketball when I was coming up and when I was playing. And I mean, I liked it, and we had some good women. We had women that played in the Sunny Hill League with us. Mm-hmm. But the majority of women couldn't play in the Sunny Hill League with us. But the day and time, women can hang. Like, you know what? I bet some of them women teams can beat college teams.
Yeah, and that's the other thing people will
College
try to
men
say.
team.
Like some people will say, you take the elite high school programs or the elite college programs, and they be like, WNBA teams couldn't beat them. I was like, you'll be surprised. Like you'll get humbled very quickly, because a lot of people. What I find is, and Devin and I talk about this all the time, is that I feel like the vast majority of guys that play basketball have never seen elite girls play basketball. Like girls that really are about that ball is life mentality. For the most part, they just see like the girls that kind of play, they're just checking them shots, like not really good, that don't practice 7 days a week, right? Like that they are not naturally gifted at basketball, and they just generalize that to be all women, how they play, just because they've never seen someone who's actually like WNBA quality step on the floor, even like D3, D2 quality step on the court. Because I've been there. And you know me, I've been an undersized guard all my life, Dad. And I had some girls try to roughhouse me, and it wasn't fun. Actually brings back some trauma. Dang.
What, when Devin used to take you?
Why you gonna do? See, this is a lose for me. Nah, I get. Listen, I give Dev buckets any day of the week. Hopefully, I don't get in trouble. But I like to think that's factual. But I will say this, right? Dev is smart. Remember, I was in that cast in college.
Mm-hmm.
First day out the cast, I couldn't wait to go hoop. Or first day, was it the first day out the cast or first day I got cleared? Might have been right after I got cleared to play. And then I was going to be able to go play in practice. So I told Dev, I was like, yo, let's go to the rec. Let me get some shots up so I'm not trash tomorrow in practice. And you know what she did? Because it was my left ankle that was messed up, or the right? It was the left. I think it was my left ankle. She just kept driving the way to where I would have to push off my left to keep up, because it was slow. Because I had it was first day out the cast because I hadn't finished rehab yet. That's what it was. Yeah, so she was smart. So she just kept going left because she knew like physically my foot was weak. And she just kept going to the basket. But if we check Rock today, she know what's up.
But what if she knew that was your weakest defensive way, and she just was taking advantage of your weakest defensive way?
First of all, my defense I'm limitless on D. I'm a lockdown. I'm Kawhi Beeford on defense, especially back then. Man, I locked you up.
Locked me up when?
Man.
What, when you stole the keys and I couldn't get in the house or something?
Oh, you got jokes. But yeah, I just think that, a lot of work needs to be done. Maybe, the WNBA needs to hire a marketing genius like Devin to help them figure out some of their issues. But yeah, I think, one of the things Kelsey mentioned was, or in some of the articles that I read the other day, this had to do with increasing the fan base in the WNBA. So I encourage all of you, if you're a part of the NoStoppingKev community, you got to become a WNBA fan if you are not already. So I need you to do something for me. Just go follow the WNBA page on Instagram so you can start to see some content of what some of the best women players in the world do. And, be ready. Because when the season rolls back around, flooding your timelines with WNBA content.
You know what, though? Like, for real, when you watch some women play the game, it's more exciting than the NBA. Some WNBA games is more exciting than the NBA game.
I like watching it because it's more of a team game. Like, there's a lot more movement. I don't feel like I'm watching a lot of ISOs the whole game. But, just going along with the idea that we need more fans, increase exposure for women's basketball. The IU women's team was playing in a tournament recently, and the venue was, gotta keep it PG, was not up to standards, right? So they were playing out in Vegas. And I can tell you, there are a lot of gyms in Vegas. There's a lot of gyms. Like the men in Vegas at the time were playing at, I think it was T-Mobile Arena probably, right? The women's tournament, though, was at like some hotel ballroom, right? It was basically where we had our wedding reception. They just set up a basketball court in there. Now, it was beautiful for my wedding reception. Absolutely stunning, right? But the number 6 team in the nation should not be hooping where people have their wedding receptions. Because one, right, there was no space for spectators. How do you have the top teams in the country playing in a tournament and nobody can watch? There's no space for people to watch. Like, make that make sense for me. It doesn't.
I agree with you. You know, the best thing to do is when you're playing in front of people. You know, that makes the game more exciting and all like that. Otherwise, you might as well go play in the schoolyard.
Yeah, and like, so let's like, even if you're looking at these pictures right now, Dad, like you see, there's a couple people that can sit around the outside, right? But like, even like the lighting in there is trash. Like this looks like, doesn't even look like a AAU game. Like I seen AAU games with more, you know, buzz than this. It almost looks like junior high school or something. So once again, even after we had the situation where the March Madness venues weren't equitable, you have a similar thing happening here. And so it's just like, who's ever in charge of these things, someone needs to be like, yo, guys, this red flag. They just need to have a red flag person. Like, we gonna get scrutinized if we go through with this. Because going back to what I was saying earlier, there's a lot of gyms in Vegas. Like, there's some rec center that's there that everybody like, yo, it's like 8 different courts. They all lined up. You can go in there today and get a run in, right? But then you also have like UNLV. Like, so there's a lot of places they could have played in Vegas that was better than that. And I hate when people try to talk about the money thing, because the NCAA makes so much money on the men's side, whether it's football, basketball. They're like, yo, do what you got to do. Because it's not like women's basketball is a poor quality product. So we gotta get it together. But Dad, you know, that's all the time we have for today, man. I know I had to cut you short on our Steph Curry conversation, but maybe we'll save that for another day. But you wanna do us the honors?
No, I just want to say maybe one day we really should get into that like a little bit deeper.
Oh, what, Steph?
Well, you know what? Just talking about the guards, period, or something like that.
All right, I got you. But yeah, before we get out of here, right? Don't forget, this weekend, Saturday, December 3rd, make sure you log on to NoStoppingKev.com/shop so you can check out our limitless collection, right? Because if you're a part of the No Stopping Kev community, right? If you down with the No Stopping Kev crew, you gotta let everybody know. Like, yo, I'm without limits, bro. It ain't no stopping me. So, you know, do your thing. And they come in, you know, this nice, I call it the sexy maroon, right? Or you can go with that nice navy. You know, I got that navy blue thing too. If y'all watched last week, I probably had the blue one on. I think. That's all I've been wearing, because I just gotta, you know, once again, I gotta say it again, Dad. I gotta let them know that I'm what?
No stop.
Bro, are you asleep? I'm limitless, man. I'm listening. Somebody help this man. Get him some call. I know you just got off work. You cool. We're gonna let you slide. And yeah, I need y'all to. I might have to put up a post. Yeah, I'm gonna put up a post when this episode drops. Comment on that post and let me know who you think is the top point guard of all time. But until next time, people, make sure you subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow us on Instagram at the No Stopping Kev Show. And yeah, if you listen to us, you can also watch us on YouTube. So make sure you subscribe there. Until next time, peace.
Peace.